Well, I would say as a child, I absolutely loved anything with an engine. So I was constantly infatuated with cars, bikes, boats, trucks, you name it. And I studied transport design. And if I'm honest, I probably thought I was going to be a car designer. But when I graduated, the first job I was offered was working for Martin Francis in the south of France. And I thought, well, hey, that's a pretty good place to go and work. So that's what I did, and I've never looked back since. Well, that's pretty simple. The first project I worked on for Martin was a yacht called Echo, built at Blohm Voss. She was, and she still is, the most amazing yacht, way ahead of her time, and had a big influence on me. And let's face it, she set the bar pretty high. So I would say that I was in love with that yacht from day one, and I will always be. Well, obviously I worked for Martin Francis, and then I came to London and I worked for Don Starkey, and he taught me everything he knew about interior design. So that combination was a great first break. But I think from H2's point of view, our first big break was back in 2005, actually, when we won the interior design on a yacht called Talisman C, under construction at Turquoise Yachts. And we'd spent the first 10 years basically doing a lot of refit work. So this was our first proper new build, and this kind of put us on the map for doing new builds. Actually, to be honest, I've not really had that much advice over the years when I started. You kind of make it up as you go along. So I would say in return, the best advice I can give would be to get yourself a decent marine lawyer. Also, a good accountant would help too. Well, that's a tricky question, and I honestly don't really think of anything that I could sort of tell you here today. But interestingly, I would say that designing a yacht is a pretty complex process, and a designer has literally thousands of decisions to make over the period of the build. So I'd be lying if I said I hadn't made mistakes along the way. But the most important thing, obviously, is to learn from those mistakes and try not to do that again. Well, that's easy. Doing interviews like this isn't easy. But seriously, I would say getting that combination or that balance between creativity and practicality. You're never going to please everybody all the time, but the trick is to try and get something that's both beautiful, creative, but also is going to be practical and survive at sea. And that's something that is not always remembered. Well, the nature of a super yacht is that, yes, of course, we've had some pretty tricky design requests, and recently we finished a yacht called Scout at Hackford's, and that owner had some very creative ideas, particularly on the interior. One of which was he wanted a cabinet in the main saloon that looked like it had come from the bottom of the ocean, with barnacles on it. So that was a bit of a challenge. And then the other, one of the many, but one that springs to mind, of course, is the main saloon sofas, the circular sofas. He had this photograph of a power station generator, and he wanted it to look like the sofas were cut out of the top of these generators, and that's what you were sitting on the top of. So yeah, that was not something I've been asked before. So now I explain it to you, it kind of sounds a bit crazy. Well, in the yacht industry, I have to say that I admire the godfather of them all. Obviously, is John Bannenberg. I admire his designs, which still look incredibly timeless today. And but more importantly, he kind of invented the role of the yacht designer, and particularly exterior yacht designer. And I think we all have to thank him for that. Well, obviously, I'd like to say Al Lucille, which H2 designed, but I think she's probably a little bit too big for me. So if I was pushed, I would say probably Yacht Venus. I think that if it's good enough for Steve Jobs, it's probably good enough for me. It's pretty obvious. I'm playing with my cars.